together a workbook on composition, okay? So it gives you lots of exercises to help you come up with nice chords for your melodies. Now, the workbook is in progress, and I'm on chapter 3 right now. This lesson is chapter 3. So if this is interesting to you, you might want to get the PDF, okay? And it's a workbook, so it gives lots of exercises where you can write in chord voicings that you like. All right, so last one that was exclusive for my Patreon members. I showed them how I write a song, but we're going to step back a little bit and we're going to work with just diatonic harmony. Diatonic harmony is important, so I'll explain a little bit now. Watch up here and it'll come up. Okay, so we have the major scale, right? Now, if we take every other note and we stack them on top of each other, we're going to get 7 diatonic chords, right? So like this. There's lots of different ways to play this, you know, not just one way. Or now the first thing you want to do, remember, when we're writing music, a good way to do it is that you try to come up with a melody and you put that melody on top of the chords. This is like a chord melody too, right? So now for starters, let's start with simple diatonic harmony. So we got these 7 chords like I just demonstrated, and what we're going to do is we're just going to use roots, thirds, fifths, and sevenths as possible melody notes, okay? So that'll give us 4 choices for every note in the scale, right? 1, 3, 5, and 7. So for example, if we have this note C, what's that going to be? That could be the root of C. So we put it on the top and we come up with a C voicing that we like. Right, and next, like the flat 3 of the A minor chord, the 5th of F major, and the flat 7 of the D minor. Now, all these sound really different, right? It's the same melody note, but like if you put it on top of the C chord, it feels like it doesn't want to go anywhere. It has super musical gravity, like it just wants to sit there. Now on the 7th, at the 7th of D minor 7, it feels like it wants to move somewhere else. Okay, so let's practice this by taking every note of the scale and seeing what we can come up with for chords, okay? So the melody we're going to use is just a descending major scale. Okay, so in this case, you know, you're going to try to put a chord under each melody note. So in the case of C, like we just explained, it could be C major 7, A minor 7, F major 7, or D minor 7. But what about the B? Well, that could be B minor 7 flat 5, the root. It could be the 3rd of G7. It could be the 5th of E minor 7, or it could be the 7th of C major 7, right? For example. So now I came up, you should try this yourself and see what kind of chords you can come up with for this melody, okay? Now, it's not the most interesting melody, right? It's just a descending major scale. So it's not musical in its way, but that's good, I think, because we're just trying to come up with voicings. We're not trying to write a song yet. We just want to see if we can come up with as many voicings as possible. So this is what I did. Tell me what you think of this. I went like this. why do I like this? Because the melody is descending, the chords are ascending. So I sort of like that contrary motion that's going on there. But there's different things you can do, so you should try this yourself and see what kind of chords that you can come up for this descending major scale, okay? So that being said, using roots, thirds, and fifths and sevenths as chord tones is a very inside consonant approach for harmonizing melodies, right? But we're going to get into using some other notes to harmonize your melodies. Now here's the rules. There's going to be 5 rules to do this. The first rule is that the melody note we want to stick on the top, okay? So it's got to be on the top of the chord. The next one is that we want you want to know what that melody note is in relation to the chord, okay? So in other words, if the melody note is C and the chord is C, it's going to be the root of C on the top, okay? Next, you have lots of creative flexibility here. Just because you have C on the top and C on the chord is C, it doesn't mean it has to be C major 7 or anything. It could be C add 9, C, I don't know, 6/9. No real rule of what you can stick in the middle. Some things are going to work better than others, but it should be a voicing that you like. And don't worry about the root so much, right? So if you have a voicing that you can't grab the root, like this one, well, the bass player will play it for you, so don't have to worry so much. Next, make sure it's a voicing that you like. That's really a key point. If you don't like it, then you won't use it. So we want to come up with voicings that we like, and we want to make a mental note of what it is. It's a C major with the root on top. Personally, I like this. So you want to make notes about like each chord that you like, okay? So anyways, again, descending, what do we have? Starting from C. I'm going to do the first one for you, okay? We're just going to use a C melody note, and we're going to try it with every diatonic chord in the key underneath it, right? So C with the root on top, what do we got? Next, C would be the flat 7 of D minor. This is a voicing I like. So the flat 7, E minor, it would be a flat 6 on top. Now, we hear this a lot after like the 4 chord, so like this kind of thing. Next, this is since the 4 chord is like a Lydian chord, right? So you can put the sharp 11 in it, which is what I like to do. But it's the 5th on the top of the F chord. It's just got a sharp 11 down here. G9 sus4, right? C is the 4th, so it's got to be a sus chord. A minor 9. All right, that's the flat 3rd on top. That's C. Next, B minor 7 flat 5 with a C is kind of weird. The top is nice enough, but B is kind of a weird bass note. So it's like a B minor 7 with a flat 9 on top is a little strange. Right, so there we go. So that was the C note on top of every diatonic chord in the key. All right, so those are just voicings I like. You should try to come up with your own, and that's what we're going to do. So on exercise 2 here, we're going to move the melody note from C to B. So I want you to do this, okay? So I'm not going to give you all the answers. In the workbook, I gave examples of chords that I like. just two of them. So for C with B, that's a C major 7. I don't know, this is not that interesting, right? Oh, there's other better chords. It's nicer. And that's the one I chose. Next one, this is with B on an F chord. It's beautiful because that's a sharp 11. Just those two alone are nice. Okay, so you go on and do the rest of these in the workbook. Okay, next we have A as the melody note. Okay, so I just chose one. So A is going to be the 6th of C major, right? So look, this is what it is. I really like this voicing. I think it's a nice sound. Okay, next, you do the rest of those. Remember, A on the top of every diatonic chord in the key, okay? So next is G. So I just gave an example for a chord that I like, G with the root on. G would be the dominant chord, right? So it's like a G7 with the root on top. That's boring, so I went like this. This is a much nicer sound. This is G9 sus. With the root on the top, okay? So next, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do all these. You're gonna do G as your melody note, and you're gonna put it over every diatonic chord in the key. Let's move on to F as our melody note. So I picked this chord because I like it. This is D minor with the F on the top. Right, but you know, some of the choices are not that interesting. What is F over a C chord is C sus. So you have to come up with 7 chords within 7 diatonic chords in the key of C major with the F note on the top. Okay. Next, I did all of these in the workbook. So this is E as your melody note, right? So what do we got? It's nice. That's like almost, I just taken off that A note that I used on the other one. Next is D minor 9. I use this all the time. Next is sort of plain, but I couldn't come up with a really good voicing. Z minor 7 with the root on the top. Next is F major 7 sharp 11. I like this voicing. Nice. Next is G13 with the E is going to be the 13 on the top. It's good. Next is A minor. I made A minor add 9. Really dark. Minor add 9s are dark sounding. This one I sort of did something interesting. Look, this is B minor 7 flat 5. But remember the melody note's E, so I just put that on the top. Using the open E string. I like that sound. But it turns it into a B minor 7 flat 5 11, right? The top is that E note, the 11 for the B minor 7 flat 5. And then we're back to the top again. These are all nice sounding chords, okay? All right, so moving on. Now it's exercise 7 is with the D note on the top of these chords, right? So like for example, I gave one example out of the 7. I had A minor 11. This is a chord that I like, Again, you have to come up with 7 chords. Right, next up. Okay, so now we're going to go back to that descending major scale. And you're going to have to come up with 7 voicings that you like for the descending scale. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I did this. Okay, so that was my idea. If I sort of took some liberties with the final C note. I used two different chords because I just like the sound of that. This is G9 sus. And C major 7. I think that's a nice sound. All right, so you see what we did? We came up with a bunch of chord voicings, and we have to try to put those to good use writing a song. We didn't really write anything, right? We just used that descending major scale melody, which is not interesting. It's not musical. It's not fun. But we were able to come up with, I don't know, 49 different chords for, 7 notes, 7 chords, right, for each note. And so now we know a lot of voicing. Some of them, are great. Some of them are just okay, and some of them are not that great, but that's okay. So anyways, I just wrote a little song. This took me about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And it's a good example of like the way I would write using this diatonic harmony. I took some liberties, but I'll explain, okay? So let's listen to it. And I recorded it. I mean, I used iReal Pro, and I came up with a little backing track, and that way we can hear it. Okay, so let's check that out. Okay, so there you go. I came up with a little song using diatonic. I did one little thing here though, because if I have to explain the song a little bit, I started on a 3 chord, but I used the flat 9 sus chord as the 3 chord rather than the minor 3 chord. If that's confusing, well, it might be confusing. You have to read about it a little bit in the PDF because it's complicated, but it's a nice chord. It's this chord. That's the what we call the Phrygian chord. It's flat 9 sus chord. And so I don't even start on a 1 chord, and then I bring it to the 4 chord. F major, because this is F6 sharp 11, D minor 11, G13, just a 4, a 2, and a 5, and then a C major 9 with the D on it. Now, in order to get it back to that F chord, because I'm treating that F chord as sort of like the home base, right? Like I'm making the 4 the 1 basically. I need the 5 chord for that. So I borrowed that. That's called a secondary dominant. I'll do that in the next chapter, but it's this chord I play. And that takes us right to F, okay? Other than that, the rest sort of speaks for itself. This is the 5 chord. But instead of going to the 1, I take it to the down to the 3 chord again. Okay, so you know, trying to have some fun. Come up with a melody, stick one of those diatonic chords under it, or until you find one that you like, and then keep moving along. So generally, when I compose, I pick one note at a time. I went like this. I heard it go into, and then I just found the chord for it. Minor 11. Right? This could have been, or could have been, but I decided. Right. So, anyways, that's what I did. So download the workbook and work on the exercises. Come up with 49 chords of your liking, and put them to good use in your own composition. Diatonic composition. Okay? We're going to get into, you know, in the next couple chapters, secondary dominance and borrowed chord. But for the time being, let's stick with diatonic music. Okay. All right. And also, you know, even if you don't want to use this for composition, it's a great tool for harmonizing melodies for the songs that you might write, even if they're not your own song, right? All right. So have a nice day. Tell me how